Hello, beautiful people. The card we have today is Raven, which represents darkness. We got this card about a week ago, and I think it's because we're still having to kind of combat not only the darkness, and this card represents accepting light and dark within yourself, but I think that this is also coming back because I think it's not only just ourselves, but I think we also have to consider the light and dark aspects of humanity in general. Because we're dealing with a lot of like repeat cycles. Things are coming up again that have already happened, you know? You keep seeing that joke online that's just like it's an open note test because these are things that have repeated in history. And there are people who still think that it's going to turn out a different way than it has before, but it continuously turns out the same way. I mean, if we do go back as far as the Dark Ages or anything previous to that, there is sort of, you know, that those were time periods that are lost to us, that it's hard to know exactly what was happening humanity-wise at those times. But as in like, since that time period, we've seen cycles of society repeat itself over and over again. And so we're kind of hoping that, you know, there's this hope that there's like a new age where we won't repeat those cycles, but we'll see. Probably won't be fixed in our lifetimes, but I think it's important to work with the lightness and darkness of humanity. And I think it's important to not ignore the history of how things have happened and to better yourself by knowing these things and processing these things and doing the work generationally to make a difference to humanity, make a better world for our children. I have the Emperor here. This is a masculine energy, father figure, power, authority, leading the way. So I think a lot of people need to be leaders in this aspect of informing people about what's going on, informing people the historical context of what has been happening, and also being that sort of masculine driving force, you know what I mean? In a way that, not toxic masculinity. I feel like this is also a message in particular. If you're a man who's watching this, and you've often wondered, like, what does manhood mean? And then you see how that internal question is being exploited to hurt young men and to create this like further division between genders. Because if you teach men not to respect women and to actually cause harm to them and hurt them, then women aren't going to want to be associated with you. And a lot of men are missing that connection point. They already were feeling some sort of rejection. Also, since, you know, a lot of men do deal with abuse in the home of like, you're not masculine enough, you're not this, you're not that, don't cry, blah, blah, blah. And they create like these sociopaths, right? Because they learn to shut off their emotions, because having an emotion to anything, the reaction to that is pain and isolation and hurt. So I think that we need to, as a society, like recognize the light and darkness of this issue, and then give more power to positive masculine energy. And that can be within yourself or it can be within your community, but definitely like this push for promoting positive masculinity and supporting it. I have Seven of Moons reversed here. And this is about finally deciding what it is that you want to do. There's so many paths before us. And normally if Seven of Moons is straight up, it means that there's just so many choices and it's hard to pick, but it being reversed tells me that you are probably on a specific path now, and that path is meant for what you're supposed to be doing. So try not to get deterred by this or that or whatever. I'm struggling with this as well. I have goals that I want to pursue. I had ran my spiritual practice, and then I couldn't keep up with it because I wanted to achieve my goal of being an indie author and working in the writing industry, and that fell apart. And then it brought me back to, you know what, my spiritual practice was something that was really helpful to me, and it was something I have energy to do, and I wanted to bring it back. So that's kind of why I've been coming back to making videos and whatnot. And I also, when I first graduated high school, I wanted to be a therapist, but I don't think that I was ready mentally for the challenges that came with that. And then now I'm more at a place where I feel like digging deeper into psychology and maybe going back to school and stuff like that seems like the right path for me. But to say all of that is also to say that there's a lot of confusing aspects about it. It's like, do I do it now? Do I do it later? And so I want you to sit with yourself and really make an affirmation for yourself for this year of what it is personally that you want to achieve, and then figure out how to take the steps to do that, and then how that will lead you into the next 5 or 10 years of your life, and what exactly your end goal would be long term for this thing that you want to do. I have the Lovers here, and this is once again about commitment, and it also has to do with a love interest, a serious relationship, or a marriage, but I'm going to take it right now as about making a commitment to something. And whenever we're talking about being a driving force in our lives, embracing the lightness and darkness of ourselves, finally making a choice and going with it. So now is that aspect of like, make the commitment and go forward with what it is that you need to do. And this is also kind of a card to tell us that fate is on our side almost, because this card in relationships can also symbolize soulmate. So this might be like, you're meant to do this. You're meant to go on this path. I have 3 of Wands reversed. And so this tells me that this is lack of investment, overworking, delays and frustration, more hurry, less speed. So this tells me that that's probably been a huge point of what has been holding you back, is like this like hesitation to do it, and also, yeah, meeting a lot of delays. That's definitely been the turning point for me with this aspect of writing and then spiritual work. Spiritual work is something that I was called to do. Writing is something that I wanted to do, if that makes sense. I always felt called to give messages to people and help people. Before I was into tarot and spirituality at the level that I am, I still always felt like it was my purpose to talk to people and help them. I had to battle some of my people pleasing, of course, but I've always been that type of person where I'd be sitting at a party and someone would just come up to me and start telling me, these things that happened in their life, and and then I would say some words of encouragement, and I just always felt like those moments were meant to happen, and I was meant to cross paths with them in that moment and in that time. So the spiritual practice feels like something I'm meant to do. It feels, something that's ingrained in me, and something that I do feel positive things come out of it if I'm dedicated to it. And so I'm sure some of you guys have something in your life that's like that you really need to start accepting that might be your path. And the other thing that you might want could be something that's a side project or something that's a passion that continues to happen on the sidelines, but this be what it is that you're actually pursuing and what you're actually putting time and effort and energy into. I have 10 of Swords reversed here too. And this tells me what happened here. Oh, okay. This tells me the 10 of Swords reversed. We've gotten this card a few times. So what's done is done. It's in the past. We're moving on, right? I feel like we've gotten that card a few times. So we already understand that we're moving away from this. It's like a relief from a bad situation, whatever it might be. Maybe it's the clarity that's a relief for you. And now you feel like you can kind of move forward with this like more clear aspect of what it is that you want out of life. And then the last card I have here is 8 of Moons reversed. Unable to leave, emotional entrapment, or fear of abandonment. So this for a lot of people is going to end up being your biggest challenge whenever you are trying to pursue what it is exactly that you want. So try to separate yourself from these aspects that are holding you back, and try to make a plan moving forward, even if it's a small plan, like, hey, I'm going to slowly do this, I'm going to do that. Now is the time to take control of your life in that way, and maybe not worry so much about like what other people think about it, or the emotional response you might get from the people in your life. You have to do what feels right for you, even if it does maybe upset people around you. It's your life, not theirs. Okay, so that is the end of my reading. If you liked it, please like, comment, share, whatever. I'm going to start doing personal readings again very soon, so keep an eye out or send me a DM and we can go ahead and get you on the schedule. So thanks, and see you next time.